Hi, Dr. Ruth here. I wanted to create this video so that I could support your discussion post that you're about to do. It's over Chapter 7, which is the nature and sources of competitive advantage. And you've got two case studies that you're going to review. So let's start with the AirAsia case. The AirAsia case, I want to make sure that you're thinking about the right things as you go through that case study. And what you really want to do is, on both case studies, is really one, focus in on what competitive advantage you're on. So AirAsia is cost. And then you're wanting to ask the question, compared to who, right? So the cost is lower compared to who. But you also need to ask yourself, in the AirAsia case, all of the areas. So there's multiple areas that low-cost carriers use to save in expense. And you need to consider which of those costs apply and compared to who. So which airline are you comparing it to that they're lower than, and which of the multiple areas of cost savings are they practicing, okay? So it's not just a simple one answer. One of the things you can also do to support you in answering your case study for AirAsia is to go to Chapter 9 and look at Figure 9.1, which has a cost drivers chart in it, and you can look at those cost drivers, and that might help you with it. But again, you're looking for their cost efficiencies. You also want to, in the AirAsia case, really think about structure. So organizational structure, management style, and organizational culture, and how all of those are playing into maintaining. Because remember, competitive advantage is about sustainable competitive advantage. And in this case, you want to think about those elements that we learned. Remember, this course is cumulative, so you always want to think about what you already know and bring it to the case. The other thing, and actually this is the starting point, is the thing that you want to make sure you clearly do is identify their strategy. What is their strategy? So, well, it's a cost strategy. Get more specific if you can, and clearly identify what strategy they're going with. Remember to do it as compared to who, and then in the AirAsia case, you also really want to have it be cost per seat. So when you're going to say they have a cheaper cost per seat than someone, that's the number that you're going to use in order to determine that cost savings. And again, remember, there's a lot of different categories that can be cost savings in the airline industry, and you want to make sure that you're identifying which ones they're using and which ones are creating that cost advantage. The Harley-Davidson case obviously is a little bit different because this case is, we're looking for differentiation. How have they differentiated themselves? Again, you want to ask the questions, what is their strategy? And then compared to who? Compared to who are they different? Does that make sense? In this one, you want to really look at the resources and capabilities because Harley-Davidson has a more limited variety of resources and capabilities, and you want to be thinking about not just what is their strength, but what are their weaknesses, because they aren't just coming out with a higher strength, they're also protecting against weaknesses. So make sure you cover that as you're going through that discussion. And again, remember, describe the firm's strategy. Ask yourself the question in the Harley-Davidson case, what resources and capabilities are needed to be a successful supplier of motorcycles? Okay, so that's just a general question. Again, resources and capabilities are huge there, and intangible. So think about what they're doing that is giving them this differentiation. That's an intangible resource or capability. All right, let's see if there's any other pointers. I think we've hit them all. In the Harley-Davidson case, one of the things that you may want to do is a value chain analysis. That may help you to see how those resources and capabilities are linked together in order to produce value for the end user. All right, well, so hopefully those are tips. Of course, you need to be reading your textbook, Chapter 7, before you go into this discussion. Then read those case studies. Remember that a case study is a puzzle, and that I always encourage you to read the case study first and then look at what the questions are that are posed. Otherwise, we tend to narrow our scope. We have a harder time differentiating things that are not pertinent to the case. All cases can be applied to different situations, so you need to be able to differentiate what is pertinent to our study right now, a competitive advantage. And again, you're focusing on cost and differentiation just to get a solid understanding of those concepts. Send me an email if you have any questions. Thanks.